Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel,
Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss the book
amongst other things. And what we doing? We back.
We're doing a wrap-up / TBR.
Yeah, so we had a video planned for last week, but it didn't record properly.
Oh yeah, it cut off. So
y'all had to miss us for a week, but we're here. We're gonna get into it. All right, so
you'll be happy to know that we've been reading. I've been reading. Kristen, she did what she normally do, so that's not really exciting.
Actually, I've been off my game for a few months, so
you picked it back up.
Come back.
Okay.
You know, I picked the shortest month to be the most ambitious.
Me too, actually.
Right, but I'm happy to say that I got in a good number of reads. Yes, even started a 6th book. I got 5 books. You said 4. I started a 6th book, but I didn't finish it. So I guess I'll start.
Yes.
So I started off the month with one I really wanted to read, and that was Will by Will Smith. So what is it about? It's about his life. It's about his life. So I did the audio version of that, and if you are interested in the book, I would highly recommend doing it the audio route, because I don't know, I just feel like hearing about someone's life is best presented in audio, like especially if they narrate it. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. But anywho, so he just goes really through his life. His not really honing in on his trial and tribulations in a way that maybe some other nonfiction or memoir type books I've read. But he does touch on some down points in his career, but he really just talks about his overall perspective, the things that he learned from different people, really just telling different stories along his journey that kind of helps you understand who he is as a person and why he's seen the success he's seen and ultimately the downfalls he's seen in his career. He talks a little bit about his family, but he doesn't go into deep detail. He more so focuses on his upbringing. So he talks about how his grandma played an impact on him, how really most of the women in his life played an impact on him, and how he's just lived most of his life trying to please some woman. And what else did he talk about? He just really, talked about, his career decisions, how he hit his hot streak, just different things. So I would say overall, I really enjoyed it. I think with the audio version too, you get a little music because he raps a little bit, or he'll play, like if he's talking about, like he was talking about Willow, for instance, he had her song playing while he was kind of introducing that. Even had Jada's song playing while he was introducing, that period of her life. So it was just really good overall. It wasn't as anecdotal as like Green Lights. I don't know why I'm comparing it to Green Lights. I guess that's the last
other,
right. It wasn't as anecdotal, but it was really enjoyable. I found myself like smiling and chuckling throughout. And I think it was a good presentation without it being like him being like wide open with everything. I think he still kept some things close to the chest. It felt, kind of a good balance of that. So yeah, I'll say, read it.
Read it. Okay. I may one day. Okay, so I read last month. It's called Halsey Street by Naima Coster. And so this is a book I just picked off of like a script. It was like suggested based on the books I had been reading before. And it basically follows this girl. What's her name?
I'm looking at it.
Her name is Penelope. It follows Penelope and basically her life. Like she lives in, I think she's living like in Portland or somewhere away from home, and she basically goes back home to Halsey Street to Brooklyn, New York, where her dad lives, and he recently had an accident that leaves him kind of like broken physically and kind of mentally. Like he hasn't been able to like really bounce back, and she moves back home basically to go help him, and like it follows her relationship with her mother and why her mother left, and just her struggling with figuring out what she wants to do with her life. And yeah, thought it was a good book. That's probably not a great support.
I was gonna say, what
I mean, it's just like, yeah, like she moves in. Well, once she moves in with this family. When she moves back home, she doesn't move in with her dad because she, you know, she's kind of reluctant to move back home anyway because it's kind of like one of those things where she's doesn't really want to go back home. She's trying to escape that like life or whatever, but she realizes like her dad needs help and like her mom is gone, so she needs, you know, she's the only one there that can really help him or whatever. So she moves back home, but she ends up moving with this family who this white family who like kind of like, you know, is like in the gentrified part of Brooklyn, and she moves in. It gets a little salacious. So it's it was a pretty good book. It wasn't what I expected. I feel like it had a good story, but it kind of stayed like it was linear. Yeah, it wasn't it didn't really like, wasn't really climactic as I felt like it could have been with all the things that were going on in her life. There were some points where I was like, dang, like that's kind of crazy. But overall, the book kind of was just like, kind of like a straight line. But I still enjoyed it. I would say read it if you like, you know, more deep coming of age type stories. It's not even coming of age. I feel like it's just one of those stories where like she's trying to figure out like what she wants to do when you know, family drama, one of those. So okay. Yeah, I think I gave it like 3. I can't remember. I think I gave it like 3 stars. But overall, I enjoyed it, and I would suggest it.
Okay. All right. So next book I read was Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. I talk about you need to go back and listen to names. I do too. Mm-hmm. So Pet, ew. So I said that because I'm trying to think of how the best way to describe it. Okay, so Pet follows this young girl named Jam. She's kind of to herself, really quiet, really introverted, and really only voices, they call it, or vocalizes with certain people. So she's because of that, she learned to sign when she was really young, and she signs with different people in the community as she feels comfortable. That's how she communicates. But pretty much she is just a curious young woman, and pretty much she's they're taught in class or school about the angels and monsters. So monsters once plagued the city that she lives in, and she's curious about what the monsters look like and who are the angels, and the angels were like the people who came and saved the city. So it was kind of like a metaphor for like, I guess, people who were doing negative things, and the angels are like people in government, people in police. Like that's kind of how I took it to mean, or what I took it to mean. But pretty much she is her mom is a painter, and one day her mom paints a portrait that the whole family kind of recognizes that the portrait looks like it's alive and trying to come alive. And one day Jam sneaks into her mom's studio, cuts her finger, gets blood on the canvas, and that brings the actual painting to life. Okay. So Pet is the creature that is birthed from her mom's painting, and pretty much there ensues this crusade to find this monster that Pet is aware of and is hunting, that somehow ties in with Jam's best friend, her best friend Redemption. So pretty much, I would say it was just a really interesting story. I don't know if I described it well, because it was pretty much a fantasy take on like a complex story and situation. Basically there's some things going on with certain adults, like I'm assuming like nothing is really ever explained as to what qualifies as a monster. Let's just think negative behavior. They said the monsters was in the church, the monsters was here, the monsters was there. So you think about like maybe corruption, things like that. So I'm thinking that's what it was. But the specific monster that Pet was hunting was harming someone that they were trying to figure out who her Jam and her best friend were trying to figure out who they were harming. So I did overall enjoy how it sparks a deeper feeling, but without actually saying the words like, oh, this person was dealing drugs, or this person was doing this. Like it just kind of sparks certain conversations about things that can be happening under your household or under your nose without you knowing. And ultimately, you know, what is the punishment for that, you know, things like that, and ultimately how those things can be weeded out and how we should kind of check in with people. I also enjoyed that it brought alternative lifestyles to like normalize them in a black book, because Jam, it wasn't specifically, you know, described, but Jam, I believe, was a transgender woman, and like her best friend Redemption, he had 3 parents. So it just normalized that, and it wasn't like, it was just presented, you know.
It didn't make it a big deal.
Right. So I liked that. But I just liked the overall themes that were throughout the story that weren't like just screaming and blaring in your face. They weren't super overt, but you knew what was going on. So I really liked that. It just sparked, you know, just some depth without being like, I'm a deep book. So that's what I will say about it. It was kind of confusing a little bit to start with, but for the most part, once you got into it, it was really enjoyable. So, Pet, I would recommend it.
Okay. I have to check. I think I might check that out one day. Okay, so the next book that I read was Not a Happy Family by Shari, Lapena. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Girl, you just picked up a random book. Where'd that come from?
We read books by her before. She wrote The Couple Next Door or something like that.
Oh, okay.
We've read books by her, so please. She's one of those.
I'm just saying, I didn't know that was on your immediate radar.
Oh. Well, you know, I had mentioned this before, but I had looked on like the anticipated books of 2022 for a book, and I think that was on there, so I put it on my want to read, and I added it to, you know, Libby and waited for it, and it came available. So I went ahead and read it, and yeah, A Couple Next Door, we read that. But okay, so this book is about these 3 siblings who takes place in New York again, but these 3 siblings, I think it takes place in New York. Yeah. So, but upstate. So these 3 siblings, the Merton kids, there's 3 of them, 2 daughters and a son. And so the son, I think his name is Daniel, and he it opens with them at like a family dinner on Easter. And the son is about to ask his dad for money, and his dad is like, no. Basically, like, the son is a disappointment to his father. The youngest daughter is an artist who like does everything to piss off her parents. It's just like, she's an artist, but she's good, but she makes like obscene art that her parents don't really agree with. And then the oldest daughter is a doctor who is doing seemingly well, but kind of still doesn't really like her parents, because they have all this like, what do you call it, resentment towards their parents and how they grew up and stuff. So apparently, like, the dad is an a-hole, like treats everybody like crap, doesn't listen to the mom, all this other stuff, and just is like not a nice person. And the mom is basically like kind of meek and just goes along with whatever the father says, but enjoys her cushy, you know, lifestyle. So boom, after the Easter dinner, you know, things kind of go, they have like the dad announces that he's going to sell the house, which is not, you know, what they want in the family. And he's just a mess. He's just, nobody likes him. He's just be doing stuff out of spite because he can. So shortly after the dinner, the kids get a call. They'll receive a call saying that their parents have been brutally murdered. Right after the dinner. So it kind of goes from there of like who killed their parents, like, and of course the kids end up being suspects because they don't like their parents. So yeah, so it kind of like goes from there, and it goes into their lives, and yeah, it was pretty good. Kind of like a mystery of like, okay, so who had the most attention and stuff. So yeah, it was a pretty good read. One of those whodunit kind of stories. And yeah, I feel like I can't really remember. I know we read The Couple Next Door, but I can't remember exactly like how was it. I think it was just like okay, but
it was a lot.
The Couple Next Door.
It was okay. Yeah, it was a lot. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I don't remember too much, but I know we read it. So, but this I feel like it was pretty enjoyable, and like trying to figure out who did it. And when you finally do get to who did it, my only gripe was that I wanted more of a reason, like, of why all this, like, why it happened the way it happened. But other than that, you know, without giving away too much, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, so another book I finished in February was Wahala by Nikki May. So I debated whether I would pick that up based off of Asia's, thoughts and feelings about.
Did y'all like that book? Comment below.
I'm about to talk about it.
I liked it.
So Wahala, just a reminder, it focuses in on 3 friends that are all mixed race, half Nigerian, and pretty much have separate lives that, they lean on each other to kind of work through their situations. In the midst of their situations going on at home, a new friend is introduced to the group, and ultimately that stirs a lot of events that causes their lives to kind of implode a little bit each individually. But yeah, and they don't understand why these things are happening. It's starting to cause, just a lot of tension between them. So yeah, that's really what it kind of, just like a quick snapshot of it. So I enjoyed it. I know it's Asia. So last month, if you watched our wrap up, she talked about just the colorism that existed throughout the book. And yes, I did get some of that, but I feel like some of it was called out. I don't think it was just like happening without, that's just me, I guess. I don't think most of it, all of it was happening with just like nothing, but I think some of it was called out throughout the book. And I'm gonna say honestly, some of it was comical to me. So I don't know, maybe I just have a different take on it, but some of it was, I feel like, called out to be funny. But maybe that's just my perspective. I don't know.
Your opinion.
But anyway, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I thought the new friend, I thought she was super annoying.
You could tell she was gonna be trouble from the get-go.
Yeah, but I thought for it to be such a tight friend group, I'm like, why are they allowing some of this stuff to happen? But a lot of the stuff was really plausible, so I really enjoyed how everything kind of unfolded. Some of the stuff was, I will say some of the stuff was a little far-fetched. Like, one of these times I'm gonna pick up the phone and ask, hey, is this going on? Whatever.
Right.
I will say that I did start to figure out what was going on. So like just the catalyst of some of their issues, I started to figure out what was going on. I started to figure out who did what and how and what and where. I don't think that didn't take away from the story. I'm just letting you know, like, it's not like it's a secret as stuff starts to happen that you're not supposed to know, because I think the book has some type of thriller suspense aspect to it, but it doesn't, to me, that didn't feel like the base of the story, I guess. So I would say I started to figure it out. And then to me, the ending was kind of surprising in a good and bad way. I didn't really see certain things happening at the end, as well as it kind of left me just like, it was like, okay, that's an interesting ending, but it was also kind of like disappointing. And then I just wish, and then other than that, I wish the epilogue, maybe this is something for a review, but I wish the epilogue had a little bit more information. But that was it. Other than that, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. So if y'all want a book review on that, let us know so we can get real spicy and fight it out. But yeah, I didn't
see nothing wrong with it.
I didn't say I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I just, that didn't put me off. I know for some people that might put you like over the edge versus, because it's certain books that you might read.
It was a good book, yeah. It was good writing and stuff, but it was just all the littles, and I'm just like,
I have read books that's like, oh my God, why do you have to do this?
Why do you have to put? Yeah,
why do you have to do this? But for me, in this particular book, it didn't do that for me. But talk about the next book you read, because that did it for me.
Okay, so the next book that I read, and I said I'm gonna start waiting to rate books until like I process it, because sometimes I'll read a book and then I'll go right to Goodreads and boom. But I need to like think on it some more. So next book I read was Black Book by Mateo Askaripour. I think it's how you say it. So I listened to the book, and okay, so first of all, it's about this young man who's working at Starbucks. He's working at Starbucks after college. Or after high school. After college?
After high school.
After high school, he's working at Starbucks, and he meets this man. He's living at home with his mom. He has his girlfriends, and he's living in his, his neighborhood that he grew up in. And he goes to work one day, meets this white man who he kind of impresses by basically making the man change his like Starbucks order by suggesting kind of something. And the guy basically tells him to come meet with him so he can give him this opportunity, like a job opportunity. And at first it doesn't really specify like what the opportunity is. It's more, I guess it's like a sales position. Okay, so Darren is the main character's name, and he at first he's reluctant to go meet with the guy because I feel like he's like one of those people who just he likes his life the way it is now. He kind of wants to stay at home, take care of his mom, and he doesn't really want to do much else or whatever. But you know, people around him are telling him like, you know, he's destined for, you know, better things, so he should go ahead and take this opportunity, whatever. And so he gets to this place. He basically takes the opportunity, long story short, and it's kind of like, it starts off as like a hazing, like it's given very much. Have you ever seen the movie Boiler Room? It's a very old movie with Giovanni will be seeing like Vin Diesel, and like they're stockbrokers and they're on the floor like yelling and screaming and about, or like Wolf of Wall Street, kind of like
that's
that.
what it gave me.
That's what it compares to too. But I feel like when I was listening to it, it very much gave Boiler Room, and it's the same concept, like very much frat bro, like yelling and screaming in the workplace and hazing and kind of like picking on the new people and just like extreme training. So being that Darren is black, a lot of like the commentary and stuff that's being thrown at him from the people that's training him is like racial, like concerning like his black, him being, I want to say he's the only black person there. I'm not sure if he is, but I think he is.
He is.
And yeah, so it just goes on in this journey of him like trying to earn the respect of this like company, and then like working for this company, and then like that puts a strain on like his relationships with his family and his girlfriend at the time and everything else. And yeah, it got a little weird, but I don't know, I felt like it was like listening to a movie, so that's what I enjoyed about it. And I was telling Kristen that I think it more so had to do with the narrator, because he was excellent. He was doing those voices, like every person sounded like a different person, but it was one guy, like he just like, he did it. He's a good voice actor. So I think that the book is not without being critiqued. Like there was a lot of things in it that I just felt like, who in their right mind would put up with something like this in 2020 or 2021?
But I also, when it was set. I think it was set a little bit back, but not that far back.
Yeah, I think it's into that, like definitely like in the last like 5 years or so. I also chalked up a lot of it to, because Darren, he ends up becoming like an unsavory character that you end up not liking for most of the book. And I chalked most of that up to, like, he's young, he's like 22 and easily influenced. So that you didn't get that. So yeah, I honestly, I enjoyed the book. I thought it was entertaining. And for a debut novel, I felt like it was pretty good. Like, although the story did it could have ended a lot sooner. I will say that. But outside of that, I just thought the book was very entertaining. So okay, I enjoyed it.
So I also read Black Book.
She hated it.
I completely hated that book. I couldn't. I tried to like it. I did like it in the beginning. And y'all can let us know if y'all want a deep, thorough review where we can go further into our thoughts. But I did enjoy it in the beginning. There were aspects of it I enjoyed. It was entertaining. It was like enticing. You did want to get to the end. You did want to know where this was going. Mm-hmm. And then I did enjoy like the breaking of the fourth wall. Like I call some books meta, but this was literally a meta book because it's moments where it's like, reader, pay attention to this. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I've ever really read a book that does that. Mm-hmm. Not that I can recall. So I did enjoy those moments, and it just gave a really promising beginning. But as you got into the story, got into some of the racial things, it was supposed to be a satire, but it's just like, it was completely implausible, completely ridiculous, some of these things. Mm-hmm. The development of some of these relationships, the development of just the events, and the time frame didn't really make sense. It was just a lot of just throw at you, dazzle me. I don't know what the point of the story was. And then that ending.
Oh, that ending threw me off.
It was like, it was so cringy throughout. Like, it was so many cringy moments that I'm like, okay, this is going to serve a purpose. This is going to serve a purpose. This is going to serve a purpose. And then you get to the end, and it's like, what was the point of this book? Like, I was so pissed at the end. Like, oh my God. So, let us know if you want to review. We already told you, but let us know, because I got some more thoughts on this book. I did not like it. I think it's going to be made a movie, though.
Really?
I think
It's
so.
a movie. And I feel like the book, even though it's supposed to be a satire, I feel like it was, and maybe not, but I feel like it was supposed to be extreme. Like,
It was too much.
yeah, like this stuff wouldn't really happen, but yeah, I just feel, I don't know. Overall, I feel like if I would have read it, I would have liked it less. Rather than listening to it.
Oh no!
Listening to it,
I do not do enough books.
It was entertaining to me. It was like a movie. So
okay.
Yeah.
So what's the last? Oh, I guess the last book we also both read was White Smoke.
Oh, we did.
By Tiffany D. Jackson.
Yes.
So that one was, I mean, tried and true to Tiffany D. Jackson's form in a way, but just a different genre. So it was a fantasy type book, a little bit. Kind of, was it described as horror or whatnot?
Yeah, it said like Haunting Hill meets Get Out. So I guess like psychological thriller is what it says.
So pretty much it was about this young girl named Marigold. Marigold, and her brother called her Mari, right?
Oh, yeah,
Marigold. So young girl named Marigold, she moves to this new city with her family from California. She has a younger brother, and they have a blended family. So it's her mom and her stepdad, who is white, and his white daughter. So family of 5 moves to the city, and under the guise of the mom won or got into this program where they're trying to get up and coming artists or whatnot to move to the city to kind of entice other people to move to the city. So they give her this house for free while she works on her book or something like that. So pretty much Marigold, she has a troubled past where she's had some drug issues, and really this is a new start for everybody. So but when they move into the house, a lot of strange events start to happen throughout, where you're thinking, okay, this house is haunted or something else is going on. She befriends a few people in the town and just really gets a very weird vibe about everything that is going on in this town. Even them getting this house, it just starts to turn into something completely different for her in regards to what is the purpose of them moving and being offered this opportunity to live in this house for free. So I guess that's what I would kind of chuck it up to. So overall, I did enjoy the story. I mean, Tiffany D. Jackson, she writes really well, and I thought the fact that this was a different genre for her, I think it was done really well. It had like that creep factor that a lot of books that I have read with a similar type premise doesn't bring. So I think she did a very good job of bringing that into this book. She, of course, made you want to know what was going on, really opened the floodgates of other things, like had another side story going on. So it was just a really enticing and engaging book. So I enjoyed it for that reason. The only thing I didn't enjoy was the ending. It just ended. Like,
yeah, it didn't kind of follow up on any of the
and I saw on like Goodreads comments, people's like, no epilogue. So I don't know if she's planning on doing a part 2, because definitely some of the things that Marigold uncovers in regards to just the town period, it's not finalized. So I don't know if that's going to be like, I was thinking it was gonna be something like, if you've read This Is My America, where it was all these other things going on and this young girl is a sleuth and she uncovers, like, I thought that was gonna be part of it, even though I didn't like a 17-16-year-old like, I'm gonna take down the city. But I would have liked that part, like, element added to this particular story. So I don't know, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it just ended. So I didn't see that she plans to make another one, but maybe I just missed that. But yeah, it didn't have an epilogue, so it just ended.
Mm-hmm.
It just ended. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I didn't know, I didn't expect it to be like a psychological or like
you didn't
scary.
know
Yeah, I didn't really kind of know what it was about, really. But I enjoyed it. I feel like it had a fantasy element, but it actually wasn't fantasy. So yeah, it was good.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't. Usually when she does like stuff like that, it usually has a different meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it ends up being something else. And so I thought that was going to be the case, but it wasn't. So, which is kind of different, still different for her. So I would say it's good enough to check out. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
All right. So the only other book I started and didn't finish was Sula. By Toni Morrison. We'll see if I finish it. Mm-hmm. It's short, so I should. And I wanted to read some physical books, but it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. But I got through 5.5 books, so I'm proud.
Oh yeah, I started Paper Palace, which I started a while ago, and I could not finish that book, y'all. I ended up having to give it back to the library, and I got more than halfway done, but it was good. It just was, I don't know, it was dragging. Yeah.
All right, well let's talk about what we plan to read for March. So March is Women's History Month, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think I usually have all women writers, but I think I do have all women writers. I guess that's not much to say. No, I had a male last month, so never mind. So how many books you plan? I'm gonna be ambitious again.
At least 3, maybe 4.
Ooh, go ahead and try for 5. It's 31 days. Okay, so the first book I plan to read is one that I wanted to read in January, and that's Verity by Colleen Hoover. So like I said before, just her books have been on my reading list for some time, and I've heard the most about that, maybe because it's one of her more recent books. So yeah, I just plan to go ahead and knock that one out. Not sure what it's about. I think she usually writes romance, but I think this one has like a psychological thriller aspect to it. So we'll find out. So
So one book that I just picked off the shelf in the library, because I was at the library the other day, and it's also a woman writer. It's called Harlem Redux by Persia Walker, and it's about this man. I think he is a part of this high society club in Harlem, and he goes back home because his sister has I think she dies, or his twin sister. Yeah, she dies. Oh, she dies by suicide, and he's not buying it. He wants to figure out what happened, what went on in her life or whatever. So he's going back home to figure that out. So yeah, I'm excited. It's got good reviews on Goodreads, so I'm gonna try to read it. It's a physical book. If I can't read it physically, which is not that long, but I'm gonna go ahead and save it on Libby just in case I need to listen to it.
So I just realized I don't know what none of the books on my list are about. So the next book I plan to read is The Maid by Nita Prose.
Is that what they put on Netflix? That's not the Maid show on Netflix? You sure?
So this book just came out, and I've been on Netflix. So I don't know. I read it. I don't know what it's about. I read the synopsis. It was enticing. I've seen mixed reviews, mostly positive reviews. So I'll check it out and see what it's given. So that's on my list, The Maid.
Okay. All right, another book. I'm just reading all the physical books, but yeah, this is the English side. This is
I got 6 books.
Martita, I Remember You by Sandra Cisneros. Y'all know she's one of my favorites. I know, and I started reading it. I read the first couple of not me.
You dog-eared the cover.
I know, because I didn't have a bookmark. But I started reading it, and it's a short book, so I should be able to get through it. I feel and she writes in
today.
She writes in little paragraphs, and her writing style is really concise and short. So I feel I'll be able to get through this. I'm not sure exactly. I feel it's about from what I've read, it's about these 2 friends who lose touch, and they were write letters back and forth to each other, and she's writing a letter to her friends. So that's what I got from it so far. So yeah.
So the next book I plan to read is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I feel like I've had a book of hers on my list before and I didn't get to it, but I might be lying because y'all gonna be like, oh, that's a debut. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But I've just seen it floating around and just the cover enticed me. And I think it's gonna be a suspense thriller type book. So, hey, I got a whole bunch of suspense thriller books, I think. No. Yep, I got one more suspense thriller. But yeah, I don't know what it's about.
Okay, so next book that I'm currently reading, and I'm gonna finish it for Women's History, is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And this is basically, I want to say it's like a retelling of like the Greek. So she's a princess of Crete. She basically gets sent away from her home because she helps this man, like she helps Theseus, a god or whatever, escape take his kids and stuff with him, and this causes her to be cast out from her family, and it just goes through her life and like with her sister and how they got separated, and it seems pretty good. It's giving Circe vibes in the sense of another young princess getting banished from her, going to live off somewhere else and, figuring out her life. But it is different. It's not the same story. So, yeah.
All right. Another book I plan to read is Sorrow and Bliss. Is that on your list?
Yeah. I started that, but it got returned to the library.
I think it's on Script.
Oh, I canceled my Script.
Okay, so Sorrow and Bliss. Another book I'm going to read is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. I saw that circulating around, and I think it's about this woman who is depressed. So yeah, that's all I know.
Okay, the last
cameo.
The last book that I'm going to
read. You got a whole bunch of physical books.
I know, and I started reading this one too. Is See I Was Right by Kaila Wilkey. And basically it's about a girl. She's basically a memoir of like her life thus far, and how she grew up in the Bay Area and was almost like sex trafficked and went through all of these things. And yeah, it's good so far. I've only read like some big. I'll be starting these books and then just trying to read my way through, but it's only like 300 pages, so I should be able to get to it. Okay. So yeah, that's it for me this month. That's all I'm gonna try to do.
Well, the last audiobook. I'm gonna try to do a physical book. I'm gonna try to do 18 by Jenny Jaeckel, or Jaeckel. I hope I'm saying her name right.
Sorry, my dog is.
She gifted that to us some time ago, and we've acknowledged that I have acknowledged that I am struggling with physical books. Charlie, chill out. But my goal is to get back to them. That's a shorter book, so I should be able to finish that. But the other book that I plan to finish is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. That was a book I saw everywhere last year, and I just didn't read it.
What's it called? The Last Thing He Told Me.
Yeah, The Last Thing He Told Me. It's I believe it's a psychological suspense thriller, one of those, type books. And I've seen a lot of like booktubers talk about it. I've seen it like Instagram pictures. It was on my Kindle deals for the longest. Like, I saw that book everywhere. It was on Scribd recommendations. It was on Goodreads recommendations. And I'm like, the cover ain't enticing. But I finally decided to go ahead and pick it up. So we'll see what that says. So that is it. So let us know your thoughts on any of the books we mentioned here today. Of course, y'all sat through this. It's a longer video. Y'all know. When we read, we talk. And other than that, like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you next time. Bye.